Hello, everyone. Welcome to Self Love You. I am Jenna Ryan, and I am here today to tell you about my life experiences and what I've learned along the way in healing from childhood abuse recovery, as well as narcissistic abuse recovery, just abuse in general. I'm somebody who's gone through so much abuse, but one of the benefits of me is that I fought my way up from the bottom and learned and taught myself how to have boundaries, how to love myself, how to protect myself. I still go into get into some really sticky situations. For example, I just got out of a relationship with a narcissist, um, and that is simply because he fooled me, and I still have some parts of me that need to heal, and I'm going through the healing process right along with you guys as I share what I'm learning with you. So today I'm going to talk about, like I just said, if you watch the couple videos I just did, I just got out of a narcissist relationship. It didn't last really long. Once the mask came off, because I did have boundaries, and I was able to put those in place, and the mask came off very quickly, relatively, 3 months. The mask came off, and I was able to walk away immediately. But during this process, I did learn a couple of things about what was really going on. And I find it interesting, and I want to go over it with you today. What I want to talk about is the devaluation and the projection and the devaluation stage. One of the reasons why I was able to walk away from this narcissist, or any narcissist, once I find out who they really are, once the love bombing goes away, once the idolization stage, which obviously I have a blind spot in that area that I need to work on. But after that, once they get to the devaluation stage, I really got a good glimpse at what really happens inside the psyche of the narcissist toward the target during the devaluation stage, which causes them to be so maligned and so cruel and so detached, and causes them to be able to move on so quickly. Because, like many have said, they have to love someone and hate someone, because they split, because they have immature psyche. And so their mind goes black and white thinking, just like a child, because a child is a black and white thinker, and because their brains are not developed. Well, the narcissist is like a child in its mind. And so someone is either all good or all bad. So it's important to really understand the devaluation stage. The narcissist will devalue. First, he will idolize you, and he will pull out, and he will notice, and he will put you on a pedestal for all of your good qualities. He will tell you he wants to get a tattoo like your tattoo. He wants to do videos on your channel. He wants to come on your radio show. He wants to sell real estate. He really respects and admires you. He mirrors you and will idolize you. And then just as quickly as that came in, as soon as they're done with you, or they're, on to something else, they found another suitable supply, then they will begin the devaluation phase. The devaluation phase serves them. It serves them because it helps them to distance themselves from any responsibility in the relationship. It helps them to see you in a light that is completely negative. And only by seeing you in a completely negative light are they able to let go and detach and move on to the new supply. Because if they see any of the goodness in you, then they won't be able to psychologically let go and move on to the next supply. Now, we all know that the narcissist never goes away, that you never get closure, because they're always going to want to come back and get you as a backup supply, a secondary source of supply. So I'm not saying that they go on forever, but when they're wanting to move on and push off to a new person, they begin to devalue you. And the devaluation is brutal. The devaluation is complete, and it begins with your physicality. In my case, in this latest case, and I assume every other case, it's your physicality. They come after, how you look. They think of you as the most negative vision that one could possibly think of. They try to find a replication of your worst traits, and then they fixate upon that, and then they associate that with you. With the narcissist that I was just with, it was so bad I'm not even going to repeat it. Like some character he said that I reminded him of, and I had never even done anything. I was like, what? I was just like, would you like a steak? And he's like, yeah, my friend said you're blank. And I was like, what? And then come to find out that was really what he was saying about me behind my back. And a totally different person behind my back. And he was devaluing me. And I don't know if you've ever heard of like body dysmorphia, where people who are really thin look in the mirror and see themselves as very fat. They cannot see the truth of who they are. They see a skewed version of themselves. Well, the narcissist in this, from what I'm learning, they see a skewed view of you. They have other dysmorphia, other body dysmorphia, where, and it's so subtle, and he would subtly make comments or not validate or boost himself up or brag about himself and then not be available for me. He would do that in a way that would cause me, the weaker person in this situation, because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was just being real, would cause me to begin to believe some of that negative mojo that he was putting on me. And I literally got a version and a vision of myself that he was having. It was very subtle, and I didn't even notice it until like being away from him for a week. But he was tearing me down. And when I say tearing me down, I mean to the lowest. Like, you might as well just, it was really bad, but not who I am as a person, because he couldn't say anything about who I am as a person. He could only tear at how I look, my physicality. So he began to tear my physicality, and I began to see myself as he was seeing me. He's so much better than me. I'm not all that. I'm not, I need to work on this, and this. I need to, go get some plastic surgery, and I need to improve upon, how I look, because it's not good enough, because, it was bad. It was really bad. And it didn't last long because I caught on to it pretty quickly. But I'm thinking back, I'm like, man, I wish I had caught on more quickly. And so they want to insinuate that you are not who you are. They want to put you down a notch. They want to put you to the less than stage. They want you to feel negatively about your physical body, about who you are. Okay? And they definitely don't want to promote anything about you. Like if I sold a house or something like that, in the beginning it was like, cool, you sold a house, da, 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 da. And then towards the end it was like, yeah, big deal, whoop-de-poop. You're nothing, kind of. But he didn't say that, but it was just more like an insinuation. And really, one thing that's important to note, and as you're getting free and healing from narcissist abuse, is that is really not who I was. And I'm sitting here going, wait a minute. I was feeling like that creature that he was telling me I look like. But I know now that is not who I really am. And oh my God, this guy has a skewed version of me. He has a skewed mirror. He was gaslighting me to think something less of myself than I am. And now I see the truth. I see the light. And that was a projection of how he felt about himself inside. Because he felt so low about himself that when he looked out through his own eyes, all he could see was the negative that he held within. So he couldn't see beauty. He couldn't see me for beyond how I looked outside. He saw my imperfections. He maximized my imperfections and projected his negative self-concept onto me because he is not able to reconcile that within himself. And so now, as a part of healing, I have to remind myself maybe in some instances for the first time, that I am fabulous. That's self-love, right? That's self-love. When you love yourself and you know that you know that you know that you know that you're the schnizzle. And nobody can ever come up and tell you that you're not the schnizzle. And no one can ever make innuendo, and no one can ever turn away and cause you to think that you are less than amazing. Okay? So that's my flaw. My flaw was I allowed his gaslighting, his little comments, his weird nicknames, his, making fun of my body parts, like my fabulous legs. That was a part of him being envious. That's a huge thing. Whenever they're going through the devaluation stage, they're envious. So it feels like if you are someone on the receiving end of this gaslighting and if you don't validate yourself and you don't know who you are, then this envy feels real. Okay? This envy is not real. This envy is their own problem. It's how they feel about themselves. They don't feel good enough, so they sure as hell are not going to let you have one drop of validation. They're going to hold you down. They're going to hold you underwater and drown you because they don't want whatever they idolized about you. They don't want that coming out. They want that to go to sleep. They hate value because they cannot have it themselves, and they are so envious. They're pathologically envious, and they have no empathy, and they just want to destroy anything of value in anyone else. And they want to be the only one that is able to hold value, but they can't hold value. So they have to go from person to person to person to person, and they have to idolize, devalue, and discard, and then hoover, because they never can be free. So they're in a prison. So the devaluation phase of the narcissist, you really need to look at it as them. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing. The only thing it has to do with you is it shows you that, oh my gosh, I have a low self-esteem in one area, and I let this person come in and fool me and make me believe while I was in this trance, this hypnotic state of idolization of the narcissist, and I allowed him to devalue me, and I agreed with it. Because anytime someone is able to devalue you and you're not boundarying up against that or putting limits up against that, then you are validating them. You're agreeing with the devaluation. And so it becomes very important that you never allow anyone ever to devalue you or take you down. That you remember who you are. You remember that you're the schnizzle, and that you stay connected to your truth and to yourself and to your own activities that better your life. Because they're just projecting their negative stuff onto you because they feel horrible about themselves. And so they want you to feel horrible about yourself, and they're envious of everything good about you. That's all I have to say for today. Thank you for liking, sharing, and being sweet to me. I really appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. Talk soon.